Alright, numero uno. On little guy. Striker RG. Shit! Whatever. I never played this character anyways. Alright, on to Rob the Ice Slinger. Oof. Alright, let's sim it real quick. Rob the Ice Slinger got fucked, bro. Oh yeah, duh. Right? Yeah, no, that makes the most sense. Yeah, what am I talking about, bro? Yep, Cyclops. Alright, so now we're moving on to the old DH. Alright, wish me luck. A whole bunch of nada, really. Shit. Fuck. Really just nothing. I mean, this belt is actually pretty damn good. Boots would be really good too if I didn't have my, my alchemical flavor pocket slot. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I could just recraft. Yeah, I mean, I could put it on this, I guess. I just don't have a bunch of gold. Ah, I don't know. This is so tough. I mean, the belt would be the biggest eye level upgrade, and then next week I could just like put a socket in it or something. Damn, the belt stats you have are really good though. Oh yeah, I know, right? And it's got the socket already. I mean, maybe I just go the boots. Yeah. Here, let's just run an old sim. Fuck it. I'm just gonna take the belt. What key did I get? Ooh, 25 RLP. That sounds terrible. Alright. Okay, so let's do a review. What builds we should be playing this week in each dungeon. Alright. Alright, tier list. Let's see here. So let's go by dungeon. So Algathar Academy. So if y'all watch my videos, you should all know at this point what we're running. It is obviously the M+. Actually, I'll write it like this: the Throwglaive, right? With Rage Fire and everything, obviously, right, guys? Because there's tons of big pulls in there, and if you want to like cheese the meters, I guess, you should be playing big AoE dam. Uh, it's just gonna do the most damage and help you move you through the keys the quickest. Hey, thanks for the sub, Havoc Rados. Thank you, dude. Welcome to the Illidari squad. And then just for utility stuff, I'd recommend just running this exact build, and also make sure you take Misery and Defeat. I don't know why people say this is like Patty. It gives you extra damage, and it's not like it's damage that you don't need in keys, right? Especially high keys. Even on tyrannical weeks, like when you get up to the 23, 24, 25, like mobs still have a shit ton of health. So you need all the damage you can get to get through the dungeon as quick as possible, right? Um, I just wanted to say that piece there because I see some videos online and it just don't make any sense why people think it's Patty. So, and then some other things to note about this: we're taking the 2 ticks, Will of Illidari, and for AA we don't need like a 3-minute darkness. That's not necessary at all. And then depending on your comp, maybe you could take away one Will of the Illidari tick for like the shorter Chaos Nova CD. But generally speaking, you probably don't need the 12 seconds off of Chaos Nova for that dungeon. Generally, most team comps have enough AoE stops. Um, just a bit out of topic, what do you play on Mythic Raz? AoE or single target momentum? This is my Raz build. I mean, I just picked what was the most played on you know on Mythic Raz clears. That's the Restless Hunter and all this stuff. But yeah, alright. So, next dungeon. What's next here? trying to go in alphabetical order. I just want to bring that up real quick. Azure Vault. All right, so this one might be contended a little bit by some, but honestly, I still think you play throw glaive here if your tank is pulling the correct way, which is basically a bunch of big pulls all in a row. For example, let me show you. Azure Vault. So let's look at an actual good route here. I'm thinking like the 100% route. 100% route is really good on tyrannical weeks because they have way less health and do way less damage. So you can get away with these like incredibly large pools, right? So the beginning should look something like this, right? I mean, they still do have a lot of health at high keys, but um, you know, being able to do that huge like your like ceiling is like so much higher with like the throw glaive and rage fire build. Um, that if you're gonna do all these big pulls, kind of like Algathar Academy, um, you know, you want that big burst AoE damage, right? So like something like this, where you're getting 100%, um, you know, like by this point at this boss, the second boss, and then after you kill this boss, you come back out here to this ring and then get the last bit of percent, and then you know, you just go down. You jump down from the second ring to the third ring right here, and then it's boss, right? So, but if you're not doing that and you're doing like, you know, like a week 1 route basically, you know, where everything's like a bunch of small pulls, kind of like this, then you know, you could play Glaive Tempest and it'd probably still be okay. But yeah, I'm gonna recommend throw glaive build generally. All right, let me catch up with chat here. Um, top 100. Uh, top 100 what? Glaive Tempest all the way for AV. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you can't really uh play around the frontals and everything, sure, but it's gonna do less damage is the thing. And believe me, I've done a lot of testing, so I've definitely done the most damage with throw glaive, but all good. Um, so what's next? Court of Stars. Court of Stars. So what do we think about Court of Stars, guys? Oh, you're talking about Raz build? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Okay, I'll catch up with you in a second here. Let's finish this because I am recording this as a YouTube video. Um, anyways, so Court of Stars. Um, I don't know if you guys saw my plus 26 Court of Stars that I posted last week, where I played the Eagle build, but it did surprisingly well. Um, you know, so you could play that, but on a tyrannical week, honestly, I think you should just do full on normal glaive tempest, right? For that extra CDR on your I beam and everything. I think it just makes a lot more sense to do it that way. And here's some reasons. Because basically the hardest part of that dungeon is, especially on a tyrannical, is the second boss. You know, the chick that spawns the imps every now and then. And the reason why Glaive Tempest build is so good for her is because essentially how you should set it up is that you have a Glaive Tempest for every single imp wave, right? And maybe even an I-beam for every single imp wave. And then you'll have Essence Break for every other. So basically you can carry the ad damage on every single ad wave, and it makes that fight a lot more manageable. On top of all that, in high keys, like the pulsating dot that she puts out on the whole group actually hurts super bad on really high keys. So my point being is that if you're eye beaming so much more and you're having so much more demonic uptime, then your leech is just basically doubled, for most of the encounter, and that really helps out your healer. So yeah, we'll just take a look at the Glaive Tempest build, see what I would take. Um, so I think this is one where maybe you can make an argument and you don't have to take Misery and Defeat. I mean, Misery and Defeat is great for like big AoE pull dungeons. Um, but me personally, I still do just because it's free damage and why not? Um, and then not really a reason to take Darkness, and I could see, taking out one Will of the Illidari tick for the shorter Chaos Nova, because you do have to stun a lot of mobs in there to prevent wipes. Um, but that just depends on your comp and how many stops you have. But generally, this is the build I would run. Um, yep. Okay. So what's next? Have you made master classes on M plus runs? What's that? All right, Halls of Valor. Halls of Valor. I'll keep this one short and sweet. I play Throwglaive. That's what I do. Um, but that's if you trust yourself with all the frontals that are happening in that dungeon. There are a shit ton. But I still, depending on how your tank pulls and how high of a key you're in, uh, there are a shit ton of big pulls. And like I said, in like Azure Vault, on really high keys and on Tyrannical, they still have a good amount of health, obviously, right? So you want this big uncapped AoE potential with Throwglaive to get through those big ass pulls. Besides Herja in that dungeon, uh, the hardest boss is kind of just uh, the mobs themselves sometimes. Although Odin can be a bitch too. Now that I think about it, but I don't think playing Glaive Tempest would help you live on Odin any more than Throwglaive would. So that's what I would run. And then just the normal Throwglaive build, I would just run this exactly. Um, I could see an argument for Darkness actually, but at the end of the day, it's still like having a shorter CD is not, you know, um, helping a specific mechanic or anything. Uh, that would just be to basically try to like allow yourself to have it up for like every boss at least once. But yeah. Um, is your Glaive Tempest the same talent tree in your written guide? I think I updated it recently, so uh, it should be. Should be. Um, yeah, I think I did. Actually, maybe no, it probably has to improve Bell Rush over the isolated prey. Is it? Okay, I'll have to take a look. Sorry. Yeah, they're old. I mean, I try to keep them updated, but honestly, it's a lot to manage. Like I still have a real job and stuff. Um, all right. So what's next here? No coup defensive. No coup. I don't even know if I'm spelling that right. No coup defensive. I would recommend Roglaive. And not only is it just good for all the big pulls in that dungeon, but obviously most of the bosses they have some sort of cleave on them. The first boss does with killing the ads, and being able to throw glaive. Sorry, my my headset turned off randomly by itself. That was weird. But yeah, on the first boss it's really good. You can put priority damage on the ad that like runs over to the ballista. Um, Second boss, it's not so good, but the third boss, it's really, really good. And honestly, I find the third boss the most difficult part of that dungeon on Tyrannical. So, hey, what's up, Yusaki? Um, so yeah, I mean, Throwglaive just makes a lot of sense. It's just gonna do the most damage overall in that dungeon anyway. And yeah. All right. So next one, Ruby Light Pools. All right. So I honestly I haven't fully made up my mind yet on what I like to run the most in here. I mean, I feel like it's Throwglaive, but I've watched some VODs of other good demon hunters and everything, and I've seen them play Glaive Tempest and they do a shit ton of damage, you know, so it's kind of hard to say. I think it comes down to your preference. I can see an argument for both, but my preference, I think, is still going to be Throwglaive, because yeah, uh, every boss in that dungeon, they have cleave on it, right? And yeah, just the last boss especially is the hardest boss, and you're basically cleaving the whole time, right? Well, not base. Well, yeah, basically you're cleaving the whole time. I mean, sometimes the dragon is up in the air flying in Africa or some shit, but um, you're basically cleaving the whole time. So I think Throw Glaive is like the safest pick, probably, for making sure that you're doing the correct amount of damage overall in that dungeon to chest it. So yeah. Okay. So next one. Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. Um uh I mean I would probably just run Throatglaive personally, but I see an argument for Glaive Tempest. Um you know, but once again, the last boss, which is arguably the hardest actually it's the second hardest boss, but it is. I think it's the longest boss in there. You're doing a good bit of cleave damage, so yeah. But I could see someone arguing for Glaive Tempest because of the last boss as well, where like basically you could have Glaive Tempest and like an I beam up every single time for like an ad wave, which would really help getting through that boss, honestly. So yeah, but I still run Throwglaive on. I just do the most damage with Throwglaive. I'm much more comfortable with it. Um, so yeah, there's really not much else to talk about. But I think that could come down to your preference. But honestly, for all of these, if you're trying to do the most overall damage in the dungeon, except for like Court of Stars, it's gonna be Throwglaive. I mean, just a little spoiler alert there for you, but there are like damage profiles and stuff you have to consider as well. Damage profiles meaning like the type of damage you're doing, and if that's gonna help you actually chest the key, not just win the overall DPS meter, right? All right, last one. Uh, Temple of the Jade Serpent. So yeah, I mean, once again, I played Throwglaive. My preference is actually Throwglaive, and I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but here's the thing, guys. Like, yes, I understand that the first boss is incredibly sketchy if you're playing momentum, but it actually isn't. Like, once you get used to it after a couple runs, like you just gotta like think ahead and be smart. That is the only thing you gotta do. Like, if the AoE thing is about to happen, then just don't fell rush. Like, you don't need perfect momentum uptime for that boss specifically. For you guys to chest that key, right? I mean, it's just not necessary. uh, it if you live, then that's gonna help you chest the key, right? That's gonna be the make or break point. And then just for every other boss in that dungeon, I mean, it's pretty damn good, especially the last boss. Um, that build really helps you melt those ads on the last boss. So really important. And honestly, I think the hardest part of that dungeon, even on Tyrannical, is the last mob pool before the last boss. Um, and there's, it's a big AoE pool, so you want the most possible damage you can do for that pool there. Um, but you know, safest pick is definitely Glaive Tempest, right? And Glaive Tempest is still good for the last boss. Like, you'll probably have no, you will. You pretty much always have an eye beam and a Glaive Tempest to use on the ads, right? It's just not like as much burst AoE as Throw Glaive. So yeah. All right, so I think that is the video. So thank you all for watching, and we're gonna get back to the stream.